Okay, now that we got you all jazzed up and excited about this global world and this age of globalization that you're going to be living in, what does that term even mean? Globalization, you hear it bandied about in news stories all the time, and there's people that are pro-globalization, and there's anti-global forces at work against them, and can you even do anything about globalization? Probably not. And you'll often hear globalization referred to as, oh, the world is getting smaller. Is that true? Well, not physically. Last time I checked, the Sahara Desert is just as far away from the Great Lakes of the United States as it was 20,000 years ago. So we're not physically getting any smaller. What is really happening is that the world's peoples are becoming more interconnected and interdependent. Good keywords, interconnected and interdependent. And another fallacy of today's world is because we live in the modern world, we live now, and we're very egocentric, this is happening now, we think, all this globalization stuff is now. Of course, because we have cell phones and telecommunications and the internet. Yes, globalization is a now thing. Hold the phone. Not so. Not at all. In fact, globalization has been happening for at least 10,000 years, by my count, could be argued much further. Because here's the dealio. All of us humans started out in a single tribe somewhere on the plains, the savannas of Africa. And as is human nature, mere survival, going out and hunting game, following the herd, and curiosity compelled members of that tribe to go out and investigate and migrate and wander and explore the entire earth and find new lands where no people were at and get into those lands. And as they traveled around the planet and hung out and had their own histories, they evolved into different ethnicities and different races that had their own stories and their own civilizations and their own empires, continually pushing to all corners of the globe until the entire planet was discovered or conquered. And in doing so, pushing further and further out to try to find more and more stuff, it's all come full circle, envelope back in on itself again. We are living through the end game of this process, a reckoning, as it were, of the single human race, this single human tribe now coming back together again after maybe 500,000, hundreds of thousands of years of wandering away from each other. And this reckoning has been happening since humans really started recording their history. It's the whole kit and caboodle, the whole advent of civilization itself, when small groups of these hunter-gatherer wanderers started to hang out and settle down into small villages, villages which became towns, then big cities, and then empires, etc., etc. And these small villages originally, when they were interacting with the village across the way, hey, that's interconnection and interdependence. Maybe they're trading goods and services or technologies. Yeah, that's globalization at a very, very, very small scale, but it's the same system. And as these village-to-village interconnections grew to empire-to-empire connections, to continent-to-continent connections, regional-to-regional trade routes opened up, land trade routes, sea trade routes, global colonization by major entities, which pushed their culture and their connection to other parts of the globe, all the way up to the establishment of the oceanic underwater telegraphic cables that made communication between continents almost instantaneous, to telephone lines, which made it completely instantaneous, all the way to cell phones, from transcontinental railways, which made space obsolete from coast to coast of major continents, to transoceanic shipping routes, all the way up to global airline systems that you can move people and stuff and services all over the place, so much more than ever before. All of this is serving to have more and more people from all over the planet interacting in more and more ways, more and more of the time. The idea that a villager 10,000 years ago shared the technology of the wheel with a dude in the village that's just over the hill from his village is the exact same globalization process as a businessman getting off of a jumbo jet from Dulles to Beijing to cement a business merger between multinational corporations. It is the same process in action. It has been going on now for a very long time. But it does seem like it's a lot more happening right this second, and there's something to that. It has been greatly accelerated just in the last several decades, the last two in particular. So if we looked at globalization kind of in a modern context, a modern definition, the process of increasing the interconnection, the connectivity, and the interdependence of the world's markets, businesses, peoples, cultures, and everything else, more and more and more. And this has sped up dramatically in the last several decades due to a couple of specific technological innovations. Not the wheel, that was a long time ago, but now it's all about the cell phone, telecommunications, and of course the internet. These are two driving forces which have exponentially expedited the interconnection of peoples and all the other stuff. Now I know you think that the internet and cell phones are all for chatting with your boyfriend about your date last night, and for downloading porn, or for shopping on eBay, or watching clips of monkeys scratch themselves inappropriately on YouTube. Yeah, that's what most people are doing with it. But that is nothing compared to the true power of these technologies in the modern era. Its true power is information dissemination, information sharing, research sharing. Think about this. Two folks studying cancer research on either sides of the planet. 100 years ago, they never would have known of each other's existence. Today, they can be working simultaneously, sharing their knowledge, sharing their technology, sharing their innovations and breakthrough together. This one big human machine that is coming together to expedite the movement of knowledge and problem solving further and further and faster than ever before. That's the true power of what's happening here and the true power of the future of these technologies. And that's not even getting to the whole social networking thing, which is just now getting warmed up in today's era, in your time right now, with Facebook, communication of peoples with each other on a very personal basis all across the planet, or Twitter. People are twittering. You can hit instantaneously, you can find out what some guy in Uzbekistan just had for lunch right this second. That's new and novel and extreme. And that's not even accounting for international news sources. News that can now instantaneously, play by play, show you shots being fired in a war. Every second, more information is zooming around the planet than ever before, and people are picking up on it, taking this, taking that, and they can take that and run with it. That's your generation. You are the folks that can do this. Me and you can be in touch and connected and sharing with peeps all over the planet, all the information we want to in real time, right now, for the first time ever in human history. And that is very exciting. That is what globalization is. We are essentially all rejoining the single tribe again. Now, not physically, we're not all going back to Africa, but we are now into a single sphere, much like we were 500,000 years ago, playing the same game, increasingly by the same rules, communicating and interacting with each other, interconnected and interdependent. Thus is the reason for this World Regions course, to know what's happening in this planet, which is increasingly the playing field that you'll be playing the rest of your life on. Now, that's what it is. Is the world globalized? Is the end game here, as I've suggested we may be close to? No. We're not at the end game yet. We got a ways to go. But there are certain aspects of human life that are completely globalized, and some that ain't so. And lots of stuff is somewhere in between. For instance, things you should know. The world economy is indeed that. It is a global economy now. There's no disputing that. Don't matter if you like it or hate it. It is. And I'm not just talking multinational corporations. I'm saying people that have a small business in a small town who never even leave that town their whole lives. They are still impacted and affected by global banking rates, by global prices on stuff they have to import to make their goods, by the whole interchange of where they're going to sell stuff to, where they're going to buy stuff from. All of that stuff, all the clothes you wear, all the cars you buy are so now interconnected in global trade chains, you can't get away from a global economy. We're living through the proof of that in the pudding right now. A recession or a depression or actually a boom in any part of the planet now affects all the other parts of the planet. That's the interdependence I'm talking about. The 2008 global recession started in the United States is a world recession now. There's no going back from it. The economy is globalized. You know what? Communications pretty much are too. Yeah, I mean, here you go. It's an awesome little device. It's about as good as it's going to get. You can pretty much go anywhere on planet Earth now on that crappy little cell phone and talk to anybody anywhere else on planet Earth, or even in space, or at the bottom of the ocean. Telecommunications are pretty much global too. There's hardly anywhere you can go anymore to not pick up a signal. And yes, the technology is going to get better, faster, cheaper, with a stronger signal. But it's pretty much there. It's pretty much globalized. It's going to get better, but it's at its end game. Transportation is close too. Transportation networks, where can you not go on planet Earth now? Where? Be it plane, train, automobile, bus, bike, four-wheel drive, motorcycle, Hummer. I mean, we've invented vehicles that takes you places that don't even have roads. And you can do it extremely quickly. Because you could make the argument, well, wasn't transportation globalized 500 years ago? I mean, Columbus sailed around the world, or at least halfway around. Yes, but it took him a year. Our transportation systems now get us there in hours, not months and years. Connecting, further interdependence. You can be anywhere on the planet right now. And many aspects of our culture, of human culture, are also on this globalization trend as well. Not all, but many things. Like music. I mean, where can you go on planet Earth and not have rap? Every country now produces some version of rap. Some of them quite horrible out of Eastern Europe and Japan, I've heard. But international film, international art and architectural, cuisine, cooking. I mean, where can you go on the planet and not go to a Chinese restaurant? This is the whole culture kind of becoming a single homogeneous world culture. That one's not even close yet, though, just so you know. There are many other aspects of human culture which aren't even in the ballpark of being near globalization, though. And that is some of the stuff that people are currently bickering, fighting, and debating about if it should go further. Things like politics, governments. That is largely still the role of the state. There's no single global political system, not even close. There's no political single global law that can be enforced by global police. There's no true global justice. There's no global environmental policy. I mean, yeah, you got the United Nations and a few things like that, but it's nowhere near global, not like the other stuff is, certainly not like the economy. And again, those are issues and things that people will be debating about in your lifetimes to figure out, are we going to globalize those things too? If you have a global economy, shouldn't you have a global set of rules to regulate that economy? I don't know. That's stuff that you're going to have to figure out for yourself. Now, having said all this, now you understand globalization. Cool. Awesome. I love the world now, and I'm excited because Boyer told me to be. Maybe you're also saying, so what? I don't care. I don't plan on going outside the country. I don't plan on leaving. I want to live, work, and stay my whole life right here in my hometown. Good luck with that, because this is now your world, baby. All of it. This system I'm talking about is in place whether you like it or not. You are the first generation of people, that are full on in the full connected world. Like it or not, you will live, work, and play, make friends, marry, travel, do business all over the planet. I'm not suggesting this is an option, by the way. Even if you never leave your hometown, whatever it is you do for a job, for a living, for a business to make money is going to have global repercussions, and you are going to be affected by the globe. There's no way out of it. And this homogenization of everything is also culturally going to impact you, whether you like it or not. You are simply going to have to be smarter about what is going on out there in the world so that you can do better at whatever it is that you want to do. Want to get that job, you're going to have to understand what's happening out there. Want to get the raise, want to get the girl, whatever it is, you are going to be better equipped, more knowledgeable, and be able to get the stuff you want, take advantage of the opportunities you want if you know what's going on out in the world. That is the age in which you are now in. However, let me back it up. Take a deep breath. There's something else going on here too. Yes, the world is globalizing, and that's every place. But there's another significant shift going on right this second that I want you to understand. And that is we are living through a pivotal time here for the United States as well. Let's bring it on back home now. Your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and maybe even your great-great-grandparents, they lived their entire existence, not so much in a globalized world, and in a world where the United States was number one at what? Everything. And our country has kind of gotten a little used to that over the last 100 years. and kind of been of the opinion that it doesn't really matter about the rest of the world, does it? Because they come to us for everything, for technical innovation and our number one economy and the number one military power, so we don't have to care as Americans about the rest of the world, which is why most of them are clueless, to be quite blunt. That is changing, though, my friends, for all the reasons we've talked about in the globalizing economy and culture and everything else. But the world is changing too. And there is certainly other powers which are rising to meet and, dare I say it, perhaps someday surpass the United States. This is the Asian century we're in now. The rise of China, of India, not to speak of Japan and other titans of Asia. There is a major shift in economic, political, technological focus which is occurring away from the United States, sorry if this hurts your feelings, into Asia. And they're not alone either. Russia's resurgent in power again. The EU, a now coordinated Europe, is a powerful entity. Latin America is rising up. We are moving towards a different era where the United States is not number one by itself and therefore does not have to care about the rest of the world. This is a different world, a globalized world, and a world where only knowing what's happening in the United States is not going to be enough for you. It's not going to be enough to get you that raise, to get you where you want to go, to understand what's happening on the planet. A new dawning age is upon us, not just the globalization, but the major shift in what's happening in the world. It's best to be in the know about the entire world, at least a little bit, so you can continue to grow and be successful within this world. But the world is a really big place with lots of facts and figures and wars and conflicts and things going on and current events. How can we possibly make sense of all this? And it's hard, and that's why people typically don't do it. Just give up. That is where this course comes into play. Let's now turn to putting together a plan of action, a plan for understanding our planet.